This video will contain spoilers from the off, so remember, you've been warned. Season 3 of Ted Lasso has been an emotional ride, from seeing Ted having multiple breakdowns and revelations, Rebecca finding herself and accepting herself and her current situation, Nate's redemption arc, Roy still having feelings for Keeley, and Jamie's maturing and development. They've all been moments that have landed with a large impact. However, there's something that's been on the cards for a while, and it's the very thing that looks as though it's finally going to get addressed in the season finale. It's also what I think the subject of the conversation that Ted wanted to bring up in the closing moments of episode 11, so I thought it would be worth breaking down and explaining what I think this conversation is, and pointing out all of the key moments that have shown us what's going to be said. So let's get into it. Here is the final moment in Ted Lasso Season 3 Episode 11 explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. I'll start by getting straight to the point. I feel the conversation that Ted is going to be having with Rebecca is going to be him letting her know that he wants to leave the club as manager and plans on returning back home to the States, something which it feels as though the entire season of the show has been building towards. I'll break the rest of the video down from here by the main reasons as to why and the clues that we've had. Why does Ted want to leave and go back home? Ted wants to leave because he misses being back home in the States and also misses being with his son Henry. All throughout season 3 of the show, we've seen the conflict that has been in his mind over whether or not he wanted to stay in the UK and coach AFC Richmond, or go back home and be with Henry. The entire season started with that being painted to us, with him saying goodbye to Henry at the airport whilst having the Lego version of the Premier League trophy in his hand, showing the two different sides to his mind. So it's been at the forefront of it since the season opened, as we saw with the sad, somber look that was on his face in the first couple of seconds of season 3. Ted loves the club and the work that he does at AFC Richmond, but I think with his mother going over and visiting him, it was the final nudge in the direction that he needed to make him realize that he needs to do what he wants to do, and that's spending time with Henry. The fact that Henry has Dr. Jacob in his life, almost adopting the father figure role when Ted's not there, was something that was bothering Ted, and also the idea that Henry missed him deeply. Two things that impact the most important person in his life, so it's definitely time for Ted to go home now. When have the clues been shown to us? We've had so many clues and hints that Ted's been wanting to go home and that it was going to be what happened at the end of season 3. As I mentioned, during the opening scene, we saw the regret on Ted's face over the fact that he was waving goodbye to his son. And also, in that same episode, right at the end of it, we found out that Michelle was seeing Dr. Jacob when Ted was on a video call with Henry, which was something that got inside of Ted's head as well, and made him envious of the fact that another man was standing in as a parental figure whilst Ted wasn't there. We also saw on a countless number of occasions Ted seeing people that cared about one another being together, and it reminded him that he was depriving both himself and his son of that kind of feeling, whether that be Keeley, Roy and Jamie in the most recent episode, people going off and socializing from the club, or Sam and his father spending quality time together. It made Ted think about his own life and the very thing that he wasn't allowing himself to have in that moment. There was then also episode 6 of the show, which was a real turning point for the character. This was when the team went to Amsterdam and we essentially saw Ted spend most of his time on his own in an American-style diner. The shot of him being in front of the American flag was poignant, and an image that really stuck in my head, showing what he truly wanted and his endgame, just to be home. Ted had a smile on his face when he was in there, but also when he smelt the exact barbecue sauce that he used to use when he would watch the game with his father, it drew back nostalgic memories of home. The fact that his father was brought up in the episode showed that he felt as though he was missing out on making those memories with his own son. We also saw Ted being on the cusp of having some panic attacks throughout this season, which always tended to stem from either getting off of the phone to Michelle, thinking about being back in the States, or thinking about Henry. Another large moment where home was at the forefront of his mind was when Michelle and Dr. Jacob dropped Henry off in London before going off to Paris. In this episode, we had Ted spending real quality time with his son, and realizing that although Dr. Jacob was in his son's life, it didn't replace the father figure that Ted was to Henry. If anything, it just highlighted how much Henry looked up to Ted, and the absence that was left in Henry's life because he had nobody like that around him on a permanent basis. There was a phone call that Ted had with Rebecca about his relationship with Michelle being over, but how his relationship with Henry wasn't, and that he needed to stop letting yesterday get in the way of today, something which I think he's now definitely going to be acting on. By leaving, he'll be allowing his present day to be what he focuses on and enjoying every moment of it. However, the final and most important thing that we saw in the show was when Ted's mother came to visit him and she told him that Henry missed him. Although that was important, it was also everything that was around what she said, and also what Ted said and thought about his mother. How he blamed her for being messed up in the present day, because he wasn't able to properly grieve for his father after he passed away, because his mother just wanted to gloss over the cracks, which meant that Ted had to do the same, rather than addressing his true feelings. Ted misses his father every single day, and you can tell that he does because of all of the fond memories that he had with him, and the missed opportunities that he mourns. So he knows the value of what a good father can bring. However, with him losing his father, and with that feeling of loss never truly being addressed professionally, he's been applying that same thing to his own relationship with Henry, as he fears that one day he'll lose his own son. Hence why he doesn't want to get too close to him, so the pain doesn't hurt when he does eventually leave. But now, with him overcoming that fear once speaking to his mother, he's finally ready to do it. There were also a couple of clues once the credits started rolling on episode 11. There was a song that was played over the credits immediately after Ted said that he wanted to tell Rebecca something, and it contained the lyrics, "When I think of home, I think of a place where there is love overflowing." So that most certainly points towards the very idea that Ted could be about to reveal to Rebecca that he's going to be going home. Plus, the title for the final episode of the season is called "So Long Farewell," a saying that is often said when the person that's saying it doesn't plan on coming back, not anytime soon anyway. So it's something that again is hinting towards Ted leaving. I think all of this most definitely supports what Ted is going to be saying to Rebecca in the final episode of the show. We may not even see the conversation happen. How the show works, it doesn't tend to follow suit like that. But I believe we'll see the aftermath of the conversation where Ted will be revealing to Rebecca that he'll be leaving his position as AFC Richmond manager after the final game of the season. I don't think he'll leave before then. So this moment has quite literally been all season in the making. From the opening frame to the final moment of episode 11, it's so well thought out and beautifully crafted. I can't wait to see the season finale of the show, and as sad as it's going to be, it's something I can't wait to arrive. So, there you have it, the final moment in Ted Lasso Season 3 Episode 11 explained. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think is going to be said? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.